Hey, Arcturus here. Today, we're looking at the Seraphon army box, which is made up of a Slann Starmaster, the Saurus warriors, and Raptidon hunters and chargers. Two separate units, one armed with javelins and the other armed with spears. Both have banners and musicians, as do the warriors. So we'll take a closer look. You can see a top-down view here, and we'll take a closer look at the individual models. So here we have a Saurus warrior assembled, unprimed. The weather has not been conducive to priming, but I hope that changes soon. Here we have the Saurus warrior musician with a drum. The alternative build for these involves a spear, but they all have shields. Here's the leader. The spears do look really cool. And the musician looks the same across them, but I only had 10 of them that came in the Seraphon army box, so I did not build them with spears. I only built them with clubs, as in the unit itself you can't mix and match, right? You can't have 3 spears and 7 clubs or whatever. You can only have 10 clubs or 10 spears, which is pretty common for Games Workshop how they do things. They these days want separate units for each of the weapon types, generally speaking. Technically, this guy with the banner and the musician also have a club or a spear, depending on how you build them. The nice thing with the musician is, if you're going to take them in larger blocks, you can always build, you only have to build one for each block you're going to look at. Although you could build more, but you also don't have to build them at all, to be fair. So here we have a Raptidon charger. Raptidon is the smaller, or I guess rather larger dinosaur, while the skink is on top as the charger. The chargers are the ones armed with spears. They have no shields, so if you wanted to, you could easily add the shield, as the shield attaches here. On the arm, there's like a little armband, which the shield just slots right into. These also have a leader, which has a different head sculpt, which we just saw. Here's a standard bearer. There are 2 different banners. Technically, this is the one for the chargers. The one for the hunters is slightly different, but you could really mix and match. Nobody's gonna really notice or complain about it. So it's the standard bearer, and then they also have a musician. The only difference between these two, the charger standard bearer and the charger musician, and the hunter version, is the lack of a shield. The Raptidon is the same for those, although you could probably mix and match which Raptidon you're looking at. So the next we'll look at one of the hunters. Let's grab the leader. So the leader has a slightly fancier head sculpt. And on these I added this club, but I left it off on the others as it was very fiddly and difficult for me to place, so I left it off. But these have the shields and spears, but the Raptidon is very similar. There's only 5 different Raptidon sculpts. So, and as I mentioned, here is the other standard. And this one has a shield, unlike its counterpart, which does not, but you could easily add one. Again, I added the club on this one. The musician, I believe, was supposed to have a bundle of arrows, but it didn't stay on, and at that point I said, all right, we'll just leave it off. But you can actually see here, maybe if I can, so if you might be able to see right between the arms of the horn. Possibly. The lighting is not great, but you can kind of see how that shield attaches. It just kind of sockets right into that armband there. And so that is the Raptidons. Then we also have the Slann Starmaster. So on this one, I haven't glued him in. So I'm going to take it out to show you the Starmaster's chair or throne. That comes with 2 skinks, a skink warrior with spear and shield, and then a sort of servant skink offering a plate of food. Also has some nice detail on the base. There's a detailed block down here with some carvings. You can just kind of see through there. And then there's also this snake creature. You can add it, so it's another support beam to this base. There are some other options as well if you don't want to include the skinks, or if you wish to have multiple Slann. You could have one with only 1 skink or one with no skinks, and there's a few little different details you can add, like a toad or a lizard that sit on the chair itself. Additionally, you can change out these front 2 pieces for different plates with different designs, so you could also differentiate that way. Additionally, there are alternate arms for the Slann and a different head, so you can have a couple variations so they don't all look the same. I went with this one as I thought it looked the coolest, as he has this magical orb and staff and then a feathered headdress, which looks very cool. Not a ton of detail in the back, but since he normally sits in the chair and he just connects with some pins, you see those 3 pinholes, he just sets right in those. And you obviously won't really see a ton of his back detail. It does also hide some of this detail back here, but I can't get the camera angle for it, but you can see it behind him, which can be. So that's why I have him separate, so I can actually paint those details in the Slann appropriately. Or, you know, fully paint them so there's not difficult brushwork getting back there. So that is the Seraphon army box, fully assembled. That's all for today. Have a great one.